Hi, friends. Welcome back to Mourning People. We're going to talk about some serious stuff today. I know that I talk a lot about being vulnerable and that it's okay to be vulnerable, and today we're really going to get into it. I know that I do have the ability to be open about things and vulnerable and still kind of hide the what I'm talking about or the who I'm talking about. And I'm going to keep it that way for a little bit because this is still a new process and I'm still kind of working through it and working on being more vulnerable. But there are some things I just need to keep to myself for now. And I think that's totally valid and should be respected. So there you go. I also just wanted to say quickly that, there are a lot of things that I repeat on this podcast. Like, how many times can you say you're not alone? You're not broken. That's okay. What you're feeling is okay. You're human. And I want to make it clear that that is intentional because we judge ourselves so much and because we're so hard on ourselves. Sometimes we need to hear those things more than once before we can actually start saying them to ourselves and believing them. So I think it's really important to reiterate that you're okay, that you're not alone, that your experiences are human. And today's episode is going to be very human. It's a deep one. I haven't really been sure if I want to get into this because this podcast experience has been so healing for me. I think that I can kind of dip my toe in today. I'm not going to share the nitty-gritty details. Maybe one day that will come up, but I really do want to touch on shame. And I know that grief is usually the main character in my podcast, but this is more about the shame we feel that makes us grieve, if that makes sense. I carry shame like it's stitched into my skin, and I think a lot of us do. I still smile at people though. I laugh, I show up, I try again. I've made mistakes I would never speak out loud. I've had secrets that made me sick. I've hurt people I love. I've hurt myself. And I still have good in me. I'm still healing. There is grief in shame. The kind that doesn't make it into conversations about loss, but it's deep grief for the version of you that you wish you had been, grief for the choices you didn't get right, for the trust you broke, or the chances you missed, grief for the self-respect that took a hit when you were just trying to survive. And still, you're not beyond repair. There's quite a lot of experiences that we go through in life, whether it's our actions or someone else's actions, that really break you and make you feel like nothing is going to fix you. And that's a really hard thing to feel because you end up hiding yourself and you end up scared to show the world who you are, who you really are. There's this big, deep, dark secret that's festering inside of you and you can't tell anybody. You can't talk about it because you don't want to be judged, because you feel so connected to that part of you. You feel like that is who you are. And it's not who you are. You're better than your secrets. You're better than the you couldn't help but being then. Maybe hearing that isn't going to make sense to you. And if it doesn't, then that message is not for you. But I'm sure there are a lot of people out there who will recognize themselves in that. There's a quiet kind of mourning that happens in our shame. It's not loud. It doesn't cry, not in public, at least. It cries alone in the dark. It doesn't scream into pillows or rip apart your memory boxes because it hides. You hide it. It waits for you. It waits for you at night. It waits for you in the calm. It waits for you in positivity. It waits for you when things are going really good and you feel fantastic. And then you're like, holy shit, I remember. I'm a piece of shit that fucked up once. I'm not allowed to enjoy this. What did I ever do to enjoy this moment of happiness? I don't deserve happiness. I don't deserve to feel that. It waits until your guard is down and it tells you you're not worth loving. And that's not the truth. If you're holding grief wrapped in shame, I really want you to hear this. There's no version of you that's unworthy of healing. No version that doesn't deserve softness, gentleness, and forgiveness. Not even the one who knew better and did it anyway. Not even the one who disappeared when somebody needed you most. Not the one who lied, cheated, or broke something that mattered. You don't have to be proud of everything you've done to be allowed to heal. And I'm going to repeat that. You don't have to be proud of everything you've done in order to be allowed to heal. When we're diving deeper from surface level mistakes, surface level shame, and we're getting into the kind of shame that we hide, the kind of shame that lives so deep inside of us because we don't want anybody to know what's there. Sometimes when you start pulling that apart, you realize there are pieces of it that came from things you didn't choose, things that happened to you, things you didn't understand yet, things you learned just trying to survive what was happening around you. And sometimes understanding where something came from can make it a little easier to look at the part of yourself with some compassion. It doesn't mean everything you've ever done wasn't your responsibility. It doesn't mean consequences don't matter. It just means that sometimes there are parts of our story that weren't our fault. And there are things we did before we had the understanding or the tools we have now. And you can understand that part of yourself without pretending nothing happened. That part of you is still worthy of healing and love. You don't have to justify your past to be worthy of a future. You can grieve what you did. You can grieve what you didn't do. You can grieve the person you had to become just to get through it. You can miss the way it could have been and still choose to love the way you are now. I know shame can feel like quicksand. The more you struggle, the deeper you sink. The more you pretend it's not there, the more it swallows you. But I've also learned how powerful it can be when shame is finally witnessed. Sometimes saying the thing you've been hiding to somebody safe can take away some of the power you've given it. I want to be clear. This doesn't mean you owe the world your story. It doesn't mean you have to publish your worst chapters. Like, seriously. I don't know why that makes me laugh because I'm literally publishing my worst chapters, but you don't have to scream it from the mountaintops, friends. But you deserve someone safe to say it to. You deserve a space where nothing about your pain is too much. You deserve to hear, I still see the good in you. Because shame will tell you that the pain is punishment. Grief will tell you it's mourning. Shame says, this is who you are. Grief says, this is what you've been through. And healing says, you get to keep going. You're allowed to hold all of it, the regret and the relief, the sorrow and the hope, the ache and the grace. You don't need to be perfect to be redeemed. You don't need to be flawless to be forgiven. You don't need to erase the past to move into the future. You're allowed to heal, even if you were the one who caused the wound, especially then. You're allowed to forgive yourself, not because it erases the consequences, not because it makes everything okay, but because you are more than your worst day. There's still good work you can do in the world. There are still people who will love the soft parts of you. There are still mornings worth waking up for, even when you don't feel like you deserve them. So let this be your permission to name the grief you feel when you remember who you used to be, to let the shame rise to the surface and not push it back down, to speak it out loud to someone who has earned your vulnerability, or to whisper it to yourself. I did the best I could with what I knew. I still have healing to do, but I'm not hopeless. You are not your mistakes. You are not your secrets. You are not what people think of you at your lowest. You are who you choose to become next, and that person is worthy of love. I really hope that the people that needed to hear this today hear it, and I hope you really truly feel like you're not alone. We all have secrets. We all have things we don't want to face. We all have that feeling inside of us that makes us feel like the things that were beyond our control make us unlovable and make us deserving of not being seen. This was a big one today, friends. I think I might leave it at that. I think I've said all the things I need to say to you and to myself. If you listen to this one and it really got you, please reach out to somebody. It doesn't have to be me. I don't care if it's me or not. That's the thing about this. I'm finding so much good in it, but it's also tearing up some really deep shit sometimes. And I don't want to negatively affect anybody. And I really hope that if this does trigger something within you, that you do understand that you're not alone and there are people that can help you. If you need someone to talk to, or if you or someone you love is thinking about self-harm or suicide, you can call or text 988 anywhere in Canada, 24 hours a day. You're not alone. You're not alone. We're here for you. I'm here for you. Be kind to yourself and be kind to others. Until next time, my friends, you're not alone. You're a mourning person.